Hi everyone. A very good evening to you all again from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, and this is the ninth episode of Live with Conscious Como. So I am so excited to be able to come on live again with you tonight to speak about the work of Joseph Tua, who is my guest for tonight. And as I was going online, our power just went off. Of course, it's the beauty of living in Port Moresby and Papua New Guinea. Um, but I am excited again, as I've said, to have you all join me in this episode of Live with Conscious Kumu, and we in the presence of Joseph. So Joseph Tua, he is and he has joined us. Hi, Joseph. And
Welcome.
yes, so I would like to I would like to just give a brief introduction about you, Joseph. If you could give me 1 or 2 minutes. So Joseph is with MAF, Mission Aviation Fellowship. It's a non-government Christian organization that they do aviation work everywhere around the world, as well as they have a chapter or a branch here, or whatever you call it. Maybe Joseph will give us more insight into that. Here in Papua New Guinea, they've been serving Papua New Guinea since 75 years ago, if I'm correct, Joseph. Yes.
Yeah.
and he is flying with MAF, and their motto is flying for life. I'm so excited that he said okay to come on this conversation with me, because I've been wanting to interview him for a long time. So he's here with us. He's in the room already, but he left. That's the brief he gave. He loves to travel to rural communities in the country and save lives, and as well as bring services to the people who are unreachable by any other means of transport than rural airstrip that MAF flies to. So it is my greatest honor to be able to have Joseph you join me on this conversation, and I am so looking forward to this conversation. So let's get into it. How are you doing? How is Hagen? I know it's very cold up there. Has the weather changed a bit?
No, Hagen is cold and I'm high on coffee. So,
Okay, that's good. That's to keep you going, and keep you warm as well as we go through this conversation. You tell us a little bit, or tell us about who you are. What's your name? I know everyone calls you Joseph, or you go by Tua Flying for Life as your Instagram handle. But who are you? I mean, I know you are Joseph, but who are you to these people? Who are you?
um,
Your
well,
family? Where are you from? You know, your parents, your family, who you are. Yeah.
um, okay. If anybody cannot hear me, please let me know and I'll start screaming over here. Yeah,
I can hear you clearly.
that's good. So my name is, oh, I don't usually do this, but anyway,
This is good.
um, my name is, thank you. My name is, not thank you, sorry. My name is Joseph Tua. Um, I come from the Southern Highlands province. Um, I have how many do I have 6 sisters and 2 brothers, so there's 9 of us in my family, big family. And yeah, I've been wanting to fly since yeah since I could. You know when they ask you what your ambition is
Yeah.
in grade 1 or prep,
Yes.
I've been wanting to fly since then. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's a brief summary of who I am, I guess. And yes, I grew up and did all my schooling in Port Moresby. So most of my teenage years and young adult life, I'm still young, but most of that was in Moresby. So
That's
yes.
good.
If there's
That's
any
interesting.
detail that you want me to share about, just let me know and I'll pick on that. Because I
Absolutely,
have
absolutely.
everything is everywhere. Mhm.
Of course, of course. You said you have nine siblings. Are you the ninth or are you the tenth?
I am number three.
Okay, wow. So you're like three, and then there's nine of you total in total.
Yes. There's so many of us, I stopped introducing them by name now. I just go, that's one, that's two, I'm three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine.
That's
That's
amazing, and I think it's great about like big families. It's like you have like larger tribe that has your back. Yeah, and I think it's important. Yeah, them having bigger family. I don't know like the experience of bigger families because I don't have a bigger family. Like it's just me and my sister. But I always loved, big tribe. Like, you have and kudos to your mom and your dad for, nine
yes,
kids is wonderful.
mom did a good job.
So hi Mama Tua, if you're tuning in, great
I'm
shout
the
out to
dad
you
too.
for yeah, great kids lineup. Hi,
Mhm.
TT. Thank you for joining us. Yes, so before we go through all the comments, I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to how important um, serving in your role and your capacity is as a pilot, as a captain, and like serving the most vulnerable and the most rural communities around Papua New Guinea. Um, as your work, as part of the job that you do, tell us a little bit about that, from you deciding to become a pilot to where you are now, and like um, actually joining MAF, and how was that experience for you? Did you, of course, like there's so many people who say that they will want to do something when they're in grade one, but then along the way they kind of like get sidetracked on their goal. But I'm just curious about, how consistent you have been throughout. You put your goal in grade one and you said you're gonna be a pilot, and then now you are here being a pilot, actually achieving the dream. So how did that happen? Like that process of you sticking to the dream all the way. Yeah.
Um, I think I was able to stick to the dream because my father is a pilot. So I watched him go to work every morning, and he looked so cool in his uniform, right? This is like
Oh
he's
wow.
and whenever he was in his casual wear, he was just another guy, right? But I
Mhm.
mean, he was still there. But whenever he was in his uniform, there was this aura around him. This it just demanded respect, sort of thing, and I found it really cool. Um, that's probably what I admired about it, because you could see it from the outside looking in. When you're the person, you don't really see that, or maybe you do. I do sometimes. Anyway, so because dad was a pilot, that helped me. That helped me. I'm just trying not to look at the comment section because that's
Don't
distracting.
look at
Anyway,
the comments. It's gonna bring you out. Don't look at the comments. We'll come to the comments later.
because dad was a pilot, I was able to just stick to that dream, and it was always something I wanted to do. And since high school, I made up my mind. It just grew stronger. It never went away. Um, and then I decided if there's one thing in my life that I'm going to be good at professionally and like be really good at, it was going to be a pilot. That was the one thing I was going to be good at in life. Um, and then yeah. And then it was just guidance from dad and mom, and they just kept pushing me. And because by the time I had already decided that I wanted to be a pilot, then dad was like, okay, well, this is what you need to do then. This is how you need to think. And this is how you need to act. And, you can't go around and play rugby or all of these physical sports and get injured and stuff like that because you need to be fit and proper. I still play basketball and rugby, but um, so all these things, all this guidance, and then that helped me. That just helped me on my path straight, and it just grew stronger. And I like other people who the dreams change. And like for me, when I was in year 12, I had contemplated doing a degree before flying. Um, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I went to uni first year, and then I streamed into geology in the second year, and it was fun. It was nice, like going out mapping rocks and different types and identifying all of those different types of rocks and stuff. That was fun. But then they got to and I tell this story all the time because it's just I regret how I left UPNG because they got to they got to the different time periods and where these fossils came from and everything, and that just threw me off. I was like, this is not. I'm not doing this. So I remember we were in the science lecture theater in UPNG, and the lecturer was still talking, and I picked up my books and I left and I went home and I never went back. Um, that's probably one of the biggest things I regret at the moment because now I want to go back to uni and try to do other stuff as well, but I can't because now I probably have all these F's under my name. So yeah, and then I kind of stayed out, and then Dad was able to find some funding for me to go to school in New Zealand, a nice, good flight school. And then he sent me there, and I was out of school for like a year and 7 months or something. So now was during that time I was just a family chauffeur. I just drove the family around Moresby City. Just wake up at 6 and go to bed at 11 p.m. or something every day, Sunday to Sunday, and it was just and yeah, I drank boo and scone to survive, and boy, and I just did what you had to do to just keep the family going to wherever they wanted to go, whatnot. So at Moresby City, I was all over that city for a year and some months. And then finally, my chance to go fly came, and I took it, and I didn't waste it. And out of I don't know how many exams, I can't really recall the exact number, maybe 16 in total exams. I only failed one, so that was great. It was great because I was out of school for a while, and it was depressing. You're driving your family around, and your friends in uni are progressing in life, and you're just kind of stuck. It was a dark time. Bad. I will not discuss the things I contemplated during those times. But yeah, so then my chance came, and then I went and did 2 years in New Zealand. Oh, that country is just absolutely beautiful. Winter flying is amazing with the snow-capped mountains, and it's just all nice and smooth and so pretty. That place is a dream. Yeah. Anyway, that's New Zealand. I try not to think of it too much because I want to go back. But anyway, yeah. So I did 2 years there, and then I finished flight school, and then mom said, "You apply to MAF," and I'm like, MAF. We knew MAF from before, and their standards are just high, very high. To join and become an MAF pilot was next to impossible. It was no. But you come out from flight school and you only have like 200 hours. So that's not a lot. And the industry doesn't really deal with 200-hour pilots. You need a lot more than that. So you just come out from flight school and you apply to everywhere, and whoever gives you a chance to take it. That's how every pilot does it. So yeah, so we applied around, and then but mom was really adamant on me joining MAF because um, mom said, "You are my firstborn son, and so you are my gift. You are my what is it? You are the one I give back to the Lord. It's like a first harvest, a firstborn son." So she said, "You will fly with MAF." And I said, "Okay, I'll put in my papers, and whatever happens, happens." Like, you know. And
Wow.
I contacted. Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. I contacted MAF on Facebook and just expressed my interest and whatnot, and then they gave me an email address to write to, and I just kind of wrote. And the doors just kept opening with MAF. It's like I couldn't have done this on my own.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Fruit offering. Um, and I think it was divine. Just it was exactly probably where God wanted me to go. So the doors just opened, the challenges that came. I mean, like MAF, to be an MAF pilot, you have to raise your own funds as well. So then you raise your own funds, and then from the funds, they support you while you're out on the field working. So funding came from UK and Norway, and I don't know who these people are.
Wow. That's
It's
amazing.
amazing. It's amazing, and it's good. It's a test of faith as well, like because they gave us a figure that you needed to raise annually to be an MAF pilot, and it was crazy. The figure was just like, no, it's not gonna work.
Wow.
But and we decided as a family that, hey, if this is where God wants me to be, then that's His problem. He'll take care of that. So let's just go and see what happens. And then it just all like it took care of itself, and you were just walking a straight path, and it was like, looking back. I don't even know how to describe it. How the doors to joining MAF open. Um, yeah, and then we came up to Hagen for a flight evaluation. There were three CPL holders, my big sister included, as well as this other dude from Hagen and South. And it could have been either one of us three. Like honestly, it could have been either one of us three. But out of that evaluation, they chose me. Um, and then from there, they sent me to Mariba to do what they call a knowledge gap breaching, where they take you from flight school and then they take you up to their standard of how they fly. And man, I thought
Oh,
I knew how
wow.
to fly before. Wow, these
That
guys are just
that's amazing.
yeah. And then I went to Mariba for 3 months. Did that. Almost fried my brains trying to keep up with that. It was crazy on its own. And then yeah, and then after that 3 months, so in aviation you start off flying a piston engine, and then after the 3 months they said, oh, you're gonna be flying caravans now, which is a turbine engine. It's a totally different engine. And then and I thought they were joking, but they weren't. So then they took me down in January 2019 to do my conversion on the caravan.
Come on. You got this. Yeah, here. Still here. Yep.
YOLO.
Yes, here. You lost us at Caravan. Yeah, you were speaking on Caravan, and then the internet kind of like fade up a little bit. You can continue from there.
Okay. Am I back
Sorry.
now?
Yes, you're back.
Okay. Sorry, network. I mean, Hagen guys, come on. Hey, you just have to bear with me
Might be
on
mine
this.
as well. So don't. It might be my side, so don't. We are like 50-50.
Okay. But we're back now. Anyway, yes. So I'll try to keep it short. Sorry, Miss Tori Golong, brother. It's the coffee
So
people, I
this
swear. Wow.
is
Anyway,
this is about
um,
you. This is about we want to hear your story, so you can share as much as you want.
Okay.
But of course,
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
some
No. So
questions that I can get to. So yeah.
uh, uh, yeah. So then caravan conversion, they put me in a brand new caravan that came straight from America. I thought they were crazy. I told them if there's an older one around, give me and let me break. This one is brand new. I don't. Are you guys sure? And they were like, yeah, no, it's fine. And then I flew the plane and it was fine. Oh, thank God. Um, and then I did my conversion on that one, and then I just made it through. Like it wasn't like a perfect pass, um, but it was just like they were like, when we were just training, you were doing fine, but when it came to the test, they said, I think, and they gave me the benefit of doubt, like wonderful people. They said, we'll blame your nerves on this one. You were probably just nervous, so you messed up. I'm like, okay, if you guys say so. So then they were happy to let me continue on to PNG. I thought they were going to send me to like Northern Territory, Australia at first, but then they said I was coming back to PNG. So I was like, okay, that's nice. Um, so yeah, then I came back here to PNG, and then I started my like full in country. Back.
Yes. Keep speaking. It will just sync. When the internet comes back on, it's just gonna sync. We're back on. No
Okay.
worries. You can continue.
Yeah. So in country training started in 2019, and in flight school, what they say is that if you can fly in PNG and in Africa, you can fly anywhere in the world.
Oh
And
wow.
the reason is that the weather, it's not predictable. You're in the tropics, so thunderstorms build up and do crazy things whenever they want, however they want. Like it's unpredictable. Um, so when they said I was coming back to PNG, I was happy, but I was also terrified because it's PNG. But then 2019, our training kick-started. We went out with two of our instructors. I say we because it was me and another Swiss pilot, Joel Rominga. So we both started in Rungene 2019, Western Province, and wow, man, that training was just wow. They took you to like they took you low, they took you to weather that was bad, and you flew, and all you can see is the next ridge line. And then we landed in short
Oh.
straight. We landed when it was wet and slippery and
Oh.
sliding. And I mean, what they called it was because we were low hour pilots, they called it a competency based training. So they said instead of you just flying for 1,000 hours doing, the same stuff, standard stuff, they said, we'll expose you to the worst case scenarios as safely possible. And then so that you get used to it, and then not used to it, more like you know how to handle it when it actually happens when your instructors are not there. So with that, what do you call it? Theory, we tested it and we went out and yeah, we flew. We flew and we just
Wow.
did train. Oh man. First time landings, sliding, every like my legs are shaking on every landing because it's just like it's a field and like are we gonna get stuck or what is gonna go like but like the adrenaline rush, that's what I live for. So it's just it was good. And then like added on to that was just the beauty of this country. Oh my God, it's just like from the valleys to the gorges and the waterfalls that you see crossing the highlands. Oh, that's just totally worth it. Totally, it's just it just takes my breath away. I don't know. Anyway, so 2019 was that we trained for the whole year. Like we did, if I remember correctly, it was 2 months on, 1 month off, 2 months on, 1 month off. It was just training. So they just, yeah, they made sure we got comfortable with the plane itself, with the environment, and with our command, and just knowing what to do. because they said you'll be flying by yourself. So we need to see that you can actually handle yourself without the instructors being here. So the whole time they said, just pretend that we're not here, which is like pretty hard to do for me personally. If I know there's someone who's like more capable than me sitting in the cockpit with me, I tend to hand over to them to do all the decisions and stuff. So I struggled a bit with that. Yeah, and then 2020 March, we did a line check. And this is a check where they see that they check your competency and your command and your decision making. So you don't go flying with your instructor, you go flying with a different instructor so that you're not biased on you when they check. So 2020 March, I went flying, and it so happened that that instructor was my chief pilot. So that made me very, very nervous, I guess, more than I should have been. And I did a lot of stupid mistakes. So I failed that first line check. It was terrible. It was a terrible day.
Wow.
But
I mean,
yeah,
you just, yeah, you just cover like so much of your life and what you have worked hard for. Even though it was something that you said you wanted to do in grade one, that you wanted to be a pilot, and then like you didn't know how much work it's gonna get, for you to be to come to the stage where you are right now, in the space and at the level that you are at. So it's like you bring us from you saying that you want to be a pilot at grade one, and then to seeing your dad as a pilot going to and from work, to us like going to university, and then leaving school. Sorry, I apologize for my niece. I apologize for my niece at the background. She's very excited. Um, I apologize for the noise in the background. That's my niece. Um, but just bring us through that, to where we are now. Just give me a moment. Sorry.
yeah, take your time. Hi, everything. Ugh, I hate saying that. Hi, everyone. Should we do a Q&A in the comment section? No, I'm kidding. I don't. So I'm just gonna sit here and look into the camera. Hi, Isabel. You still call me that? Wow. Okay. Wait on a love. Hi, you big white ape. Hey, Oracle. Lamau. Yes, wait, I know who you are. Thank you. Oh, Jake, you rouse, please. And a love. Oh. Hi, Bubbles.
Hi, so sorry about that. So as we are saying, just bring us through your life story all throughout, um, from where you grew up to your parents. Like I really love the story that you shared about your dad and him really pushing you through to where you are now and giving you guidance and all of that. I really love that part of your story, as well as coming through to university and just leaving school in the middle of your class and then never turning back. I mean, all of that. Yeah,
That's
I think
bad.
it's like, yeah, like the story from where you started off with just a dream to where you are now. I think the whole process took work for you to do. So it's kind of like it's teaching me a lesson as well, as in you could have a dream, but then it's something that's there, and then you don't know what the work is, how much work it's going to get to go through that. So like one thing that I took out from your story about your dad helping you, um, in the process of you becoming a pilot, I think it's it is inspiring as well because not many Papua New Guineans or for that matter, like around the world, not most of them have the kind of guidance from their parents to be able to, um, succeed and go further in life. And you having that guidance and support, I think is very crucial. And for those who are listening in, I hope that it's or even if it's a parent or a someone who is planning to be a parent, I think it's a very important takeaway that your child or someone can have a dream, but then it takes a special kind of
Guidance and
advice and
encouragement.
encouragement to be able to go further to be where you are now. So I apologize again for my niece, the noise in the background, and the power just went off, so I'm sweating as well. So, oh, the prices we pay for living in a city that experiences blackout every day. Ah, it's
I mean,
crazy.
there's
As
no
you can
blackout
see,
here.
I'm sweating. Yeah. So please go on and continue the story.
Okay, yes. So we stopped at where I failed my line check in March of 2020. Um, yeah, I just didn't have what it took at that moment to be a captain with MAF, I guess. And when I sat down, and then so then 2020 I failed, and then COVID hit, right? So all my instructors, they are Europeans and Australians. They left. They had to leave the country. So then I was just left here with nothing basically except for my training. But then I failed my line check, so it was like it wasn't much I could do, you know. So I felt terrible. I felt bad. I felt useless. Um, but then 2020 happened, and I just thought, because my instructors were like, "Hey, we need you to just hang around. We'll still work through this." Because what happens is they said that they'll build on what I have, and then they'll do another line check again. That's how they do it with MAF. So from your line check, everything that went wrong, we sit down and we debrief and talk about it and talk about what you could have done better. Um, so we did that, and then I had the whole of 2020 to think about what I could do right. And that's a long time. So, and then COVID hit, so the borders closed, so I couldn't do much. But yeah, I was just helping out wherever I could, however I could with MAF, making coffee, loading planes, cleaning planes, marshalling planes, or doing airstrip surveys. I just yeah, I took on whatever other little job that was there that
Yeah.
didn't really have to do with flying, but I was like, I'm here for a reason, and God wouldn't have brought me this far for nothing. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. Um, and so 2020, I would say, wasn't really fun for me, but it was a very steep learning curve. And I think from that I learned is that failures are good, and then if you call them failures, then you get stuck. But if you are willing to look at your failures and see
Yeah.
where you went wrong, how you can do better the next time, then it just becomes a stepping stone for you, and then you just keep going, right? And it takes a lot of, I guess, emotional control or something along the line to really call yourself out on your bullshit and be like, hey, that wasn't good, and you messed up here, and you're not perfect, right? And you have things to work on, and that, I mean, like that, I did that for my flying, but that also applies to life in general. So yeah, so I had all of 2020 to think about it, and then exactly 1 year later, 2021 March, I did another one.
Mhm.
And this time the weather wasn't that great, and we went to Tari, and I had to stay low and fly around Mount Gilue and dodge clouds and follow the Tagari up into Tari, and then
Mhm.
it wasn't a great day, but it was a good day for a flight test because
Mhm.
I had to work hard for that one, and I did. And my instructor was happy with my performance, and And then when we go back to Hagen, I remember the day. Oh, it was the proudest moment of my life. I was like, don't tell me if I passed or failed. I don't want to know. All I know is that this is a flight that I'm responsible for, and I will take you to Tari and back safely. I told him that. And so I just flew and I used everything they taught me, and I just flew. And then we go back to Hagen. I was like, don't tell me anything, and I shut down. And then it was hi.
Yes, you're back. You're back.
Where did I?
You stopped at Hagen and then yeah, the story. Again, I apologize for my nails. Um, the email kami pa yung namo na din. Email pa yung namo, please see. Sorry, I'm speaking in my language. Sorry about that. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, ano
oh,
ba
good.
namamahuyat? Ano ba to? Tamatay ma. Sorry.
Oh,
Ah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tutuwa
So
pa.
then,
Go
but
on. Sorry.
so we finished the flight, and then he shook my hands and he said, "Welcome to the crowd." And I knew I had passed my line check, and I couldn't believe it. And then and then and then my chief pilot brought out the 4 stripes, and then
Mm-hmm.
our country director he put it on my right shoulder, and my instructor put the stripes on my left shoulder. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable." I couldn't believe it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
That was a beautiful moment. And then yeah, I was because we were wearing face masks, so I couldn't really show that I was happy. I was smiling. So what I did was I grabbed my instructor's hand so hard that I thought I was gonna break it when I shook his hand.
Oh
But
my
I
God.
I was just so happy. I was just so happy. Like it was 1 year of waiting, and I couldn't believe that I did pass, and I was so happy that I waited basically. Um, and I mean, there were a lot of people within MAF who believed in me when I didn't, right? They saw a potential in me that I didn't. I thought I was just giving this a go to see what happens and where this goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they pushed me on and they encouraged me as well. So it was really good. We I Yeah, I really appreciate those people. And then the icing on top of the cake on that day was that my father is a captain on the 737. And that afternoon, he came into Hagen as well. He came into Hagen, and then I had just gotten my stripes as well. So I couldn't wait to show off to Dad that finally I got my stripes as well. So when he landed, I rushed up to him and we took a picture on the Hagen tarmac and we sent it to Mom and all my siblings. And it was such a beautiful day. Just highlight, highlight, highlight. Um, but then the work didn't stop there. It's now what the instructor said was now is where the learning actually begins for you. Because they said this is where you go solo, this is where you will make your own mistakes and you will have to learn from them. So from then, like MAF has a really good thing where they send you solo, but it's really closely guided. Like the first couple of months, you before you take off, you call your instructor. When you land, you call your instructor and talk about the weather and fuel and daylight and all these critical things that you need. And then so it was like that for a month, and then you just kept giving feedback to your instructor, and it was confidential, just between you and him. So if you messed up or you did something, you talked to him, and then you guys kind of broke it down, and you have to show that you had learned from it and that you're not repeating the same mistakes again and again. That's bad. But as long as you're learning from your mistakes, then that was a good sign. Um, so yeah, and then after a month, the my instructor was like, "Okay, now you just call me in the morning and call me in the afternoon when you're done." I was like, "Okay." So I did that for another month, and then after a while, he was like, um, he said, he said, "Joseph, I think you know what you're doing now, so you don't have to call me anymore." And I was like, "Well," and I told him, "You don't want to talk to me anymore." And then he got up. He got up. This is an older guy from the UK. He's amazing. His name's Paul Woodington. Paul. He got up and he said, "Well, at some point we just need to cut the umbilical cord and let you go." So he said, "This is me. Snip, snip. You go." So then they sent me solo, and I've flown by myself, and I've done some stupid mistakes, and I've survived, and I've learned from them, and it's been a year of flying solo now, and it's having that command and just like practicing. It's like a newfound power. Like that's how I saw it. It's like all of a sudden people have this respect for you, and they
Yeah.
expect not expect, but yeah, no, they expect you to kind of know everything there is to know about flying. I don't know everything there is to know about flying. I really don't. Um, so it was, and then like as a Papua New Guinean and a young Papua New Guinean too, kind of, because all the other guys, like all the ground staff and agents in the bushes, they're all older than me, right? So to tell them what to do for me, I found hard to do. It was like how to load the plane and what this can go and that can go and oh this seat cannot be there and I can only take 9 passengers and not 10 and that doesn't look like an infant. That's actually a 2-year-old. They need to pay for their own seat. Like all these little things. It's just it was a struggle. Um, but then like I just kind of I kept talking to my friends, getting feedback from them, talking to my instructors, and just finding my way through and around this. And then, like you said, like you have this dream, but you don't know how hard you have to work for it, right? It's the day I got those 4 bars and became captain, I realized, wow, these bars are heavy. Like the responsibility they carry. You are flying the plane by yourself. And some days you have 9 passengers on board, right? And all those 9 passengers, their lives are literally in your hands. So you need to know what the heck you're doing. And the day I
True.
the day I got those the day I got those 4 bars was the day I also had a newfound respect for my father because I was like all I saw was like the respect and the awesomeness and the coolness, but he never showed how heavy those 4 bars are. The responsibility that he carries is like, oosh, man, these bars are heavy. Because one is you're just one stupid decision away from killing everybody. Like just that's to put it really bluntly, but it just yeah. And that's why like
Wow.
pilots have to be fit and proper and you have to pass the psychology test and all of that stuff to just they wanna make sure you're right in the head as well. Um
Wow.
yeah, and that's been the journey and it's like first time we fly one, Amila. Sorry, I'm going to Pidgin now.
No, it's okay.
The I'll stick with English. I'll try. Oh my goodness. The first couple of times I was flying, it was like you start the plane and you do everything like really carefully and you kind of have to really know what you're doing and as the engine started already and you check your engine and you check all your flight instruments like you just slowly take your time. You're still like kind of calibrating and finding your way around the plane. And then compared to, if I compare myself a year ago to now, it's like my hands know what to do and they go and do it and then my mind follows after and that happens a lot especially when I'm tired and that's why like for pilots fatigue is a big issue. And that's why on some of my Instagram posts you'd see me emphasize a lot on rest because I really believe rest is important because you need it like personally for me and in my line of work I need to have a clear head to really know what I'm doing. And but then I think that applies to everybody else in whatever field you're doing. If you wake up one day and you know, don't want to go to work or dread going to work, then well, maybe it's time you take a day off and just kind of chill and do nothing. That's
Yeah.
what Sundays are. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
good. You
I think that's the journey so
what
far, and now I'm sitting here at Highlander talking to all of you. And yeah, I think the highlight or the best part of this job is getting to help. Like I love doing
exactly.
medivacs. It's just it's
That's
getting to get.
That's the second question I was gonna go to. Like, you do all this work, and then you're flying, and then you see Papua New Guinea from the top, from the air. And I'm sure like this pilots have a way of capturing beauty of a place or wherever an environment just from the top. And I follow a few of the pilots on here, and I'm always fascinated by sunrise or sunset or like a beautiful view from the plane or from wherever. And I think you guys have the best office. You guys have the best office because like every day, of course, it comes with its own costs, as in you you arrive home, there has to be some things, you wind down and get enough rest, as you said. But I think it's a job that needs you know everything, your whole body to work together to get the job done. And I wanted to come on that follow-up question on what is the best memory of your life, especially working with MAF now, or as a captain, yeah. What's the best memory that you have, or the best part of your job and as a pilot as well? And probably you could integrate some things in there that you think aspiring pilots might wanna take into consideration as well. Yeah.
Um,
The worst part, I'll come
I,
I'll come to the worst part later. There's another question that's coming up as well. I mean, not worst part, but lessons or something like that.
um, okay, I yeah, I don't have one best memory. There's been a lot. It's so I would say highlights. I'll just generalize it. Um, for me, the highlights would be like Medivex when you help people. Oh yes, that one. So there was this guy in Mohead. Sorry, I remember now. And this is like yeah. There was this guy in Morehead in the Western Province. He had issues with his stomach, and he hadn't gone to the toilet, or he wasn't able to go to the toilet for like 4 or 5 days. And then so his stomach started to swell, and he's like a prominent figure in the community. So his stomach started to swell, and he was in a lot of pain. So they called us over to go take him to Daru. It's a 40-minute flight. And that day, the southeasterlies were just like the winds were just crazy that day. And I picked the guy up and his family up, and he was in a lot of pain. I put him in the back seat, and like you could just see that he was just in pain. He was not there. He was just hurting all over. Put him in the back seat, and then we took off a Dara, and I couldn't climb too high because then all this pressure exchanges would cause the pain to be worse. So I stayed at 1,000 feet, and even staying at 1,000 feet, the winds were just knocking us about. Like the turbulence was. Whoa. It wasn't like very very bad that the plane was falling out of the sky, but it was bad enough that it was just we were just rocking. It wasn't a comfortable ride. And when we fly and when we do medivacs, I like to turn around and check on the passengers, but only once. Cause and I found out, like I learned from that day why I only do it only once. Because the second time I turn around to check, and if they're in pain or anything, the emotional connection that you have to the flight and the patient, it just gets stronger, it gets established. And then what happens is the possibility of you risking safety to make the flight happen, which means you push through bad weather or you fly really low to get to where you need to go, like all of these things. So I look back once and then I keep looking outside, and I'm like, this is all I can do for him. This is the best I could do for him. I'll just take him to Daru and the pain. And then so we hit a really big turbulence where the plane went up and dropped. Like we're used to it, so I'm just sitting there chilling. And then I turn around and I look back, and oh man, I like the guy's face is just scarred into my head. He was just oh, it's terrible. I'm like, oh.
Oh my
And
God.
then like there's nothing I could do, you know. It's like
But
I was
was
already
his
set at
face
cruise.
sad, or was he surprised, or was he scared?
He
His
was
face.
in pain. He was just like he was looking up to heaven for help, you know, like poor guy. And then so I go and I join in straight in final and I land in Daru and the ambulance was there and we took him out and the ambulance took him and his family up and away. And I was like, oh man, I really hope he's okay. And then I think fast forward a month or two later, or no, maybe a month or 3 weeks, something like that. There was another medevac from Mohead to Daru. No, Suki to Daru. Yes, Suki to Daru. I can't keep track of these things anymore. Anyway, so I was in Hagen. I don't know where I was. I was doing something. It wasn't a flying day for me, but they had the medevac, so they called me in, and I was happy to do it. So I went to Suki, and it was already like in the afternoon. So it was for sure I would have to overnight in Daru because I couldn't. There was not enough daylight to get back to Bali, which is 30 minutes away from Daru. So I pick up the Suki people and I take them to Daru, and then we put the plane away and we're just walking through town to get to the what is it called? I forget the place called where we stayed in Daru. And then we passed by this house, and there was this guy standing on the veranda, really waving and smiling. And I was like, okay, I'll just smile and wave. And then our agent in Daru was like, hey, that's the guy you brought from Mohead. I was like, which guy? And I stop, and then he runs down from the veranda and he comes to the gate, and it's the same guy that I brought from Mohead. And he was running, and he was smiling, and he was bright, and he was happy, and like you could see the life in him. And oh, that was so fulfilling. Like that was just beautiful to see. I was so happy. It's just that that was just a beautiful end to that story because he was happy and he learned like way better than when I took him there. It's like this is so good. This is why we do what we do. That was just rewarding. I was
Wow.
I was so I was so fulfilled. That day was just mm, beautiful. But yeah, that's probably the best highlight I have to share with you right now.
Okay. I'm sure like there's tons of them, and you're, always updating us on your story about, all these highlights that you're doing and the stories that you're sharing. Of course, like the work that you do is very important and in saving lives. You're not just a captain, you're like also saving people's lives, and that's the value that you add to people's lives every day. And it's
Yeah.
just beautiful to see. And on that, we know like there's always some things that we can see someone and we can see like they're up there, or we can see like all the good highlights in their lives. But what is one, moment of your life that you think has made you realize or learn something that was so bad, but then how did you manage to maneuver through that challenge, or try to you know come out better from that situation? So is there a particular downtime that you face that, um, maybe you as a pilot, or you as an individual in your life, or what is something that you've faced that has really challenged you, but then also encouraged you as well to grow? Of course, we are all like hyped up, but then there's also as a captain, as a pilot, there's so much that you have to deal with on a daily basis. But share a little bit about that, bring us through that, and maybe if someone is also thinking about becoming a pilot, you know, a brief of what, just 2 or 3 tips of what they should do, to achieve that. Yeah.
Mm, um, let
Like
me
a
just
challenge. Like there's a
let
challenge
me
that you face, and then how you went about to maneuver. They're probably in the air when there was a turbulence, but then you shared that one already, but in a more sense of as an individual. Yeah, because like then as an individual you have to have your, yourself together in order to be able to fly. So give us that, peek into your life in that regard. It could be
Mm.
anything that comes up in your mind.
Um, no, I can think of it, but I'm just thinking of how to say it. Yeah.
Take your time.
Whew. um, how do I say this? The I think it would start from. Oh my God, my battery's low. Wait.
And then probably if you're okay with us going to at least probably say 8, probably 5 minutes, 8 and
I
five
am
minutes.
I am in the mood to story now, so we can
Okay.
go.
All right then. All good.
um, the challenge or the dark time. No, biggest challenge. It was well, like I shared before, when I failed my when I failed my first line check. Um, and I would say it's as a like I am the only Papua New Guinean inside MAF as a pilot right now, right? And then so most of my other, well, all of them are expatriates. They're from Europe, they're from Australia, New Zealand, like all these other places. And the challenge was the culture clash, I would say. It, and and it's when I failed and when they're giving you the feedback of when they give you the feedback of where you failed and where you need to improve. The biggest challenge was to not take that too personally and to realize that it's not an attack on you or your culture or your skin color or whatever. It's just this is what you lack and this is what you need to work on. And to separate that and to be able to just not react emotionally to it and take on the critic while keeping yourself calm, like to just and then to kind of when they're talking to you and when they're teaching you and when they're trying to correct you, it's to just shut up, don't say anything, shut up, and listen properly, um and try to see it from their angle and like take a step out from the conversation and see from outside in. And it wasn't hard. I mean, it wasn't hard, it wasn't easy, goodness, it was hard. it was, it was difficult. And I remember I was just it was just all these emotions welling up because it's like they weren't saying that you're not good enough, but all of the feedback they're giving to when you failed, just the implication was that you are not good enough, like, and they didn't say it, but it was in my head already, and I was like, you know, and it was just to hold all of that down, just to hold all of that back and listen and pay attention, and then and even worse, to agree with them that okay, I actually do need to work on this, and that yeah, I'm a bit lazy here, and it wasn't just from the failed line check. It was everything after that as well. When you get your command and when you screw up, because like you still do that even after you become a captain. And then I have to call my chief pilot and talk to him, and he has to like tell me, well, this he calls you out like this is where you went wrong, and you need to fix that and don't do that again. And then like I think getting the command as well and becoming a captain, your ego grew with that. It's terrible. And then so it was almost like even worse to be corrected after you passed the line check than it was before. Because now, like, you're a captain, right? You should know this, and you don't. Like it's all these little things, man. They eat you alive. But and even then, the command and then to realize that hey, I still have a long way to go, and there's still a lot for me to learn. And you just like the challenge is to just cut yourself down. Like you are not as good as you think you are, and that you still have a lot of growing to do. And if you think you know it all, then you won't grow. So you need to just humble and you know how to fly, but if you act like you know nothing, then you are gonna learn. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it was taking critique and really letting that trim my edges, so to say, not literally, but like yeah, and it just kind of make me a better pilot, right? And like the first time to really calm down and not get too worked up and take things too personally was hard. It wasn't easy, but like as you do that, and then you see that it's actually adding to your growth as a person, and that it's making you a better pilot, a better human being. Then like it's easier the next time around, I guess. But even then, if you don't keep tabs of your ego growing, it's
Yeah.
gonna sneak up on you, and all of a sudden you'll feel like you know everything. You really don't. Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge. And
I totally like agree on the note that you mentioned that you are the only Papua New Guinean on the team, and then the rest of your colleagues are expatriates, and it is so easy to lean towards the thinking that just because of where I come from, because of my background, because of my skin color, these words are coming to me. But it takes a strong mindset to be able to flip that around and say, no, all this is for my growth, all this is for my for me to go forward. And I think that's very important when we are. I mean, I'm speaking to myself as well. Like when we're working within an environment where there's so many different people from different cultures and different um,
mm,
places where they come from. It's always important to have a strong mindset or like emotional maturity, because not everything will be, you know, um, said in with an intention where, to downplay you as someone who is from Papua New Guinea, or someone who is skin color or whatever type, all these things. It's not always about that. It's also genuinely about your growth as well, or my growth. So I think there's a you just touched a very important topic, and I think not a lot of people have that kind of mindset nowadays. You can see it like now with the state of everything that's happening. It's always important to have that kind of mindset, because when you do, then it helps you grow as well. So I think the way that you're thinking, handling advice from your colleague, I think is an excellent way to go forward
yeah,
in the work that you do. And I'm sure like you understand that, and you're able to um, process that and accept that, okay, this is for my growth, this is not something other than whatever, this is absolutely for my personal and professional growth. And so you take that all in, and I really really admire that mindset, and it's important that every person who wants to be in a profession where it's all dominated by, for example, for me as a woman, if it's I'm buying for a profession that's mostly male dominated, or buying for a profession where it's not Papua New Guinea, but expatriate dominated, or whatever one can
mm,
call it. I think it's very important to have that kind of mindset, so that you're not swayed to go quickly towards um, the kind of mindset that puts us all in a bad situation. So
mm,
yeah, it's good to see that. Yeah, that kind of thinking as well, because it's very important in our time and age.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make mention of that, but I think you are doing great. And all we do at the end of the day, it's not perfect, and so we always need correction from people that know better than us to be able to point us to the right direction. Um,
Mhm.
okay, I probably just talked too much there, but
Okay.
yeah. So okay, so oh probably to close up our conversation, I know like you are so very like busy in terms of the career as a pilot, and probably going forward, how maybe that's a big question, but how do you see it happening for you in the next few years, or probably what are you gonna do tomorrow? We should start there. Because like 5 year, 10 year plan is so big. So are you like for tomorrow, what are you doing? Are you flying to get some people? And then what are you what will I say? Doing in the next 5 to 10 years? I'm sure that like the latter question you can leave it out, but what are you doing this week? I'm sure you have plans to fly out and help some people, but yeah.
I'll start with my plans for tomorrow. If the weather is good, I hope it is, I get to be introduced to flying in the West Pacific area and the Engas. So tomorrow I get,
Yeah. Continue. Okay. Yep, we're back on. We might wrap up in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so just letting you know. Just network. I can hear you. Yep. Oh, I hate this network. Ah, all the tax we pay and then we get these. Oh, so crazy. Okay. I think our internet is so bad. Let's just wait for good now. Oh, ho, ho. We do not like this network. We should tell Digicel and all these other network companies to really step up their game. It's so crazy out here. Ugh, I am so mad at the network. So crazy. This is not what I planned. I don't. Oh, okay, we'll just wait for him to come back on, and then we'll complete our conversation. I am so sorry, Joseph, and I'm so sorry for everyone not tuning in. I will just, I'll check if it's online and then I'll bring him back in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the network is playing hard to get. I agree with you. Oh, because he's unable to join. No, I'm gonna cry. Hi, Joseph. Are you able to join in from your personal account? That would be great because now that you have left, I don't know what's wrong with this Instagram, but it says I cannot be able to bring you back on the account that you were on. I'm gonna cry. I'm not. Okay, let's just see. Okay, I'm inviting you again, so let's just see. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Please, all of you should wait. Please just wait. I just I want to conclude this conversation on a very good note. So, okay, let's just invite him back. Unable to join. Okay, Joseph, you just probably also just send a request. Send request, and then I'll add you. I'll add you. But yes, I didn't plan for the network to be so bad today, this evening. I do not like how this is going, especially with the network and the dogs too. I need a studio. Okay, it's requested to join. Accept. Go live with. Oh no, I apologize for the dogs. I do not have control over the dogs. Oh, it's unable to join. Sorry, Joseph. It says unable to join because I don't know. It's an Instagram thing that when you leave, it kind of like just um it just automatically doesn't let you back in. Or if I even invite you, you are not gonna come back in. So maybe you can join us on your personal account. I'm not sure if that's possible. Uh, no, it's not your live video. We'll have to restart the live. Are you sure we have to restart the live? If you guys are able to stay on, just say yes. If you're able to stay on for another 3 minutes. Okay, yeah, we'll restart the live. Just hang on and we'll restart the live. Thanks, guys.